Part 1. The Woman No One Saw. Rain hammered the cracked pavement of Riverside District, where neon signs flickered above shuttered shops. Beneath a torn awning, a figure huddled against the cold, an elderly woman wrapped in newspapers, her trembling hands clutching an empty cup. Most pedestrians hurried past without a glance, but Rena paused. She was an unusual sight herself, a hybrid woman with golden fox ears that twitched beneath her hood, a flowing blonde tail tucked carefully around her waist, and striking amber eyes that gleamed with warmth. Her wavy hair cascaded past her shoulders, damp from the storm. Despite her worn second-hand coat and patched jeans, there was grace in how she moved on her digitigrade legs. "Ma'am?" Rena's soft voice cut through the rain's percussion. "Are you all right?" The homeless woman looked up, her weathered face etched with exhaustion. Beneath the grime and fatigue, her eyes held unexpected depth, intelligent, sad, lost. "Cold," the woman whispered, "so cold." Without hesitation, Rena removed her only jacket and draped it over the stranger's shoulders. Her fox ears flattened with concern as she noticed the woman's blue-tinged lips. "Come with me," Rena urged gently, extending a hand. "My apartment isn't much, but it's warm." The woman stared at the offered hand, furry and tipped with delicate claws, as if seeing a miracle. You'd help me? But I'm nothing. Nobody." "You're somebody to me," Rena replied simply. Her modest studio apartment was 17 blocks away. Rena supported the woman's weight the entire distance, her tail wrapped protectively around them both against the biting wind. Curious onlookers stared at the peculiar pair, the fox hybrid girl helping what appeared to be a homeless vagrant, but Rena ignored their whispers. Once inside, she settled the woman on her only couch, wrapped her in blankets, and prepared hot soup from her meager supplies. As the stranger ate, color slowly returned to her cheeks. "What's your name?" Rena asked, kneeling beside the couch, her tail curled around her legs. The woman hesitated, fear flickering across her features. "Call me Violet." "I'm Rena." She smiled, her fox ears perking forward warmly. "You're safe here, Violet, for as long as you need."
3 weeks passed. Violet remained in Rena's tiny apartment, slowly healing from whatever trauma had left her on the streets. Rena worked double shifts at the diner, her fox features sometimes drawing uncomfortable stares, but she never complained. She shared everything: her food, her bed, her kindness. One evening, Rena returned home exhausted, her tail drooping with fatigue. She found Violet sitting by the window, tears streaming down her face as she clutched a faded photograph. "Violet?" Rena approached carefully, her ears swiveling toward the older woman. "What's wrong?" "My son," Violet whispered, showing her the photo. A handsome man in an expensive suit stood before a massive corporate building. "I lost him, or he lost me. I don't remember anymore." Rena studied the image, her sharp eyes catching the building's logo, Thornfield Enterprises, one of the city's largest real estate empires. But she said nothing, instead wrapping her arms and tail around Violet in comfort. "Memory comes and goes," Violet continued, her voice breaking. "Sometimes I remember luxury, love, laughter. Other times there's only darkness. I was so confused, so lost. Then one day I woke up on the streets with nothing." "We'll figure this out," Rena promised, her fox ears pressed back sympathetically. "Together." That night, as Violet slept, Rena researched Thornfield Enterprises online. The CEO's face stared back at her. Damien Thornfield, 35, billionaire developer who'd mysteriously withdrawn from public life 6 months ago after his mother's disappearance. The resemblance to Violet was unmistakable. Rena's heart pounded. Should she contact him? What if Violet wasn't ready? What if there was a reason she'd blocked these memories? Her contemplation was interrupted by Violet's scream. Rena rushed to her side, finding the woman caught in a nightmare, thrashing against invisible demons. "Shh, I'm here," Rena soothed, her tail wrapping around Violet protectively as she stroked her hair. "You're safe, I promise." Violet's eyes fluttered open, focusing on Rena's concerned face, those unusual fox features that radiated nothing but compassion. "Why are you so kind to me? I'm broken, worthless." "You're neither," Rena whispered fiercely, her amber eyes blazing. "And I'll prove it to you."
Rena's hands trembled as she dialed the number for Thornfield Enterprises. Her fox ears lay flat against her skull with nervousness, tail twitching anxiously. "I need to speak with Damien Thornfield," she told the receptionist. "It's about his mother." 2 hours later, a black Mercedes pulled up outside her building. Rena watched from her window, her heart racing. A tall, devastatingly handsome man emerged, Damien Thornfield in person, his dark hair slightly disheveled, his eyes haunted with grief. When he knocked, Rena opened the door cautiously, her unusual appearance causing him to pause momentarily. "You called about my mother?" His voice was rough with desperate hope. "She's here," Rena said softly, stepping aside. "But please, be gentle. She's fragile." Damien entered the modest apartment, his expensive suit incongruous with the worn furniture. Then he saw her, Violet, thin and aged but unmistakably his mother, dozing on the couch. "Mom!" The word broke from him like a prayer. Violet's eyes opened. For a moment, confusion reigned. Then recognition blazed across her features. "Damien, my baby boy!" They crashed together, both sobbing. Rena retreated to give them privacy, her tail wrapped tightly around herself as tears streamed down her furry cheeks. Later, after medical professionals had examined Violet and confirmed her identity, Damien approached Rena where she stood by the window, her silhouette outlined by city lights. "You saved her," he said quietly. "When everyone else walked by, you stopped. You shared everything you had." Rena's ears twitched. "Anyone would've." "No." He moved closer, and she caught her breath at the intensity in his dark eyes. "You're extraordinary, Rena, in every way." She trembled under his touch, her tail betraying her nervousness with its rapid swishing. "I didn't do it for reward." "I know." His thumb traced the delicate fur. "That's what makes you remarkable. Let me help you now, please. It would honor me."
Damien insisted on moving both Violet and Rena into his penthouse during his mother's recovery. Rena initially refused, uncomfortable with charity, but Violet's pleading eyes convinced her. The luxury overwhelmed her. Marble floors, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the glittering city, rooms larger than her entire former apartment. Rena felt out of place, her fox features and humble background making her hyper-aware of every elegant surface. But Damien made her feel welcomed. He'd catch her admiring the view, her tail swaying gently, and join her with 2 cups of coffee. "Tell me about yourself," he'd say, genuinely interested. She shared her story, growing up in foster care, always different because of her hybrid nature, struggling to find acceptance. He listened with an intensity that made her pulse quicken. Weeks passed. Violet's health improved dramatically under proper medical care and nutrition. The sharp, intelligent woman beneath the trauma began to emerge. She watched Rena and Damien with knowing eyes. One evening, Rena found Damien in his study, head in his hands, shoulders tense with stress. Without thinking, she approached, her bare feet silent on the carpet. "Damien?" Her hand touched his shoulder. He looked up,
exhaustion etched in his features. "I almost lost her. If not for you." "But you didn't," Rena whispered, kneeling beside his chair, her tail curled around them both instinctively. "She's safe, healing." His hand rose to cup her face, fingers tangling gently in her wavy blonde hair. "Because of your impossible kindness, your beautiful heart." The air between them charged with unspoken emotion. Rena's fox ears flattened submissively as he leaned closer, his breath warm against her lips. "Tell me to stop, and I will." Instead, she closed the distance, kissing him with all the longing she'd suppressed. His arms wrapped around her, pulling her onto his lap as the kiss deepened. Her tail wound around his waist, her body melting against his. When they finally parted, both breathless, Damien pressed his forehead to hers. "I'm falling for you, Rena. Completely." "I already fell," she confessed, her amber eyes shimmering with tears and joy.
6 months later, the transformation was complete, but not just in circumstances. Rena stood in Damien's study, now their study, reviewing architectural plans for a new project. Her tail swayed contentedly as she worked, wavy blonde hair pulled back in a professional bun, though her fox ears remained charmingly visible. Thornfield Enterprises had a new initiative: affordable housing with support services for the homeless. Rena spearheaded it, her personal experience making her invaluable. She'd gone back to school, earned her degree, and become the compassionate heart of Damien's empire. Violet, fully recovered, served as the program's advocate, sharing her story to combat stigma. "Penny for your thoughts?" Damien's arms wrapped around Rena from behind, his chin resting on her shoulder. She leaned into him, her tail wrapping around his leg affectionately. "Just thinking how strange life is. A year ago, I had nothing." "You had everything that mattered," he corrected, spinning her to face him. "Kindness, compassion, courage. You just needed the world to recognize your worth." His hands cupped her face as he kissed her deeply, and she responded with matching passion, her body pressing against his. They'd moved beyond initial attraction to profound love, partners in every sense. That evening, at a charity gala for their housing initiative, Damien took the stage with Rena beside him, her unique appearance no longer a source of insecurity, but pride. "This woman," he announced to the glittering crowd, "showed kindness when no one else would. She gave everything she had to someone she didn't know. She taught me that true wealth isn't measured in bank accounts, but in hearts willing to care." He turned to her, dropping to one knee as gasps rippled through the ballroom. From his pocket, he produced a ring. Simple, elegant, perfect. "Rena, you saved my mother. You changed my world. You made me believe in goodness again. Will you marry me?" Tears streaming down her face, fox ears perked with joy, tail swishing wildly with happiness, she answered, "Yes. Always yes." As they kissed, Violet watched from the crowd, her own tears flowing freely. Her son had found his soulmate, the fox-hearted woman who'd proven that kindness, freely given, returns tenfold. Rena had learned the most valuable lesson: compassion requires no reward, but often brings the greatest gifts imaginable.